We have Scarlett. She heard from Australia. Scarlett, you're in an open relationship and you're wondering about if it's healthy to feel some sort of jealousy. Hi.
Yeah, hi. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, so glad to hear
Yes.
from you.
I'm sorry about that. I know I wasn't supposed to say that. This is my first time calling in. I'm a bit fangirling right now. I've been listening to you guys the whole show, and it's been a really good resource for me. I am in an open relationship now with my boyfriend. I've come out of an abusive marriage just a year ago, where there was a lot of cheating and things going on. And I was a virgin when I met my husband, and so that was pretty much all of my experience. But I always sort of had in my head, like, it was fascinating to me how society expects you to get married and then to just switch your attractions to anyone off. And I always thought that was interesting and very, very unrealistic. And so it came about with my boyfriend. I think for his birthday, I sort of jokingly offered him a threesome. Because I thought I'd seen some videos and thought it looked pretty hot. And he reacted in the way that you would imagine any man to react. He was like, "What? Oh my God, that's allowed?" And I was just like, yeah. And I've sort of thought a lot about it, and that it was like a way of me sort of owning, my own thoughts and feelings and taking control of it. And we've had a few experiences. We've had another girl, we've had another guy, and not all of them have been pleasant,
Sure.
and have had a lot of emotions that I've had to work through. And I was just wondering what your opinion of feelings of jealousy in this kind of situation would be. Like, I sort of think that maybe it's healthy to feel some amount of jealousy because you love the other person. I just wanted to hear what you thought about that.
Sure. Well, I'll just jump right in and say that one of my favorite things about being a therapist is getting to tell the same joke or make the same comment over and over and over again until it just sinks into some of my clients' heads. So I actually love the eye roll I get when I start to say what I'm about to say to you, which is that here is the complete and entire list of obligations that you have to your partner, to your family and friends, to your community, to the world at large. You are completely responsible to all of those people for your actions. And that's it. That's the entire end of the list. Your fears, your fantasies, your dreams, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, all of those things are totally yours. Now, if you're experiencing an incredible amount of suffering because of your jealousy, you might want to check in on that. You might want to ask some questions about whether or not this is a good fit for you. And certainly there are some ways to perhaps like manage or work out that jealousy and to cope or to maybe change even some of those feelings. But ultimately, I really want to make it clear that you don't need to apologize for your feelings. If you are acting out or being aggressive or rude or hurtful or violent or whatever else because of those emotions, then yeah, you may need to make some amends. But I really hope that you walk away from this conversation with, if nothing else, with at very least the idea that you have permission to think and feel however you're feeling. But with that, what other sorts of tips or advice would you two poly guys mention here?
The thing that I have found, I think jealousy is probably inevitable.
Sure.
Even in a monogamous relationship, it's probably inevitable to feel, eventually you're going to feel those feelings. What I have discovered is that for me, jealousy is always just a fear wearing a green coat. It's always, I always have, there's always a fear underlying it. And I've found it very useful for me to dig down and figure out what it is that I'm afraid of when I'm feeling that jealousy. And then if I can get to that, usually I can figure out whether or not that fear is founded, or I can have a conversation with my partner about that fear, or, but usually if I can get to the underlying fear that the jealousy comes up from, a fear of being left out, or a fear that she's not going to come back, or a fear, whatever these fears are, if I can get to the jealousy is almost never for me its own thing. It's almost always something else dressed up as jealousy. So if I can get to the underlying thing, I usually do a lot better.
Find a better strategy for meeting those needs.
Yeah.
Okay, so we brought up a while ago how just because you are now in a relationship or even a committed marriage, it doesn't mean that other people stop being any more attractive, right? You don't just turn that off like a switch. And jealousy, I see as also being one of those switches, that just because you have now decided to have an open relationship, it doesn't go away just like that. And you shouldn't expect it to, because these are feelings that you've probably had with other partners, and it's something that's perfectly normal and natural to experience. Now, what got me out of it, and again, your mileage may vary, is it is a lot of fun watching your partner having a lot of fun, even if you're not the one who's giving the fun. So that sense of compersion, and that
Giving
sense
the
of
fun.
I want my partner to be happy, regardless of whether or not I am involved in that happiness. Now, that's, again, your mileage may vary. This is what does it for me. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be different for everybody. And like Christy said, if it's starting to get problematic, that's when we need to start addressing and having different conversations and figuring out what's the root of this and what we can do about it.
So how does all of that strike you, Scarlett?
That sounds pretty spot on. We're pretty new to this, so we're still sort of figuring it out. And I think, is it Dave?
Dan,
sorry. That talked about just jumping in and not really knowing all of the rules and stuff. I really identified with that. We just sort of dove in head first, and then dealt with the issues that came up as they arose. And we're both big, psychology nerds, which is why I really love listening to this show, and deconstructing it all. And we do that sort of thing. But part of me thinks that the jealousy is kind of even a good sign, because in my marriage, for example, I felt zero jealousy because I wasn't getting the love that I needed, and I didn't feel any strong, I don't know what the word is. I didn't feel any strong sort of, not ownership, but
numbness or disengagement. Yeah,
exactly. And the being left out thing, that definitely, the first time we had another girl, he was so excited that he kind of just zoned in on her, and I was kind of forgotten about because he was so excited. And afterwards, he was just on this massive high. He was like, oh, my God, that was so great. And because I love him so much, I was kind of riding on his high a little bit. And then the next day is when I felt all of these strange feelings bubbling up. And it's really uncomfortable. And I did talk to him about it, and he was devastated once he realized that he had completely forgotten about me. But I've also, he's also experienced it too from the other way around. But it's a bit harder because we've come across a lot of men that are very untrustworthy and have treated me, not followed rules. We had a guy that so many guys don't bring condoms with them. And we think that's a really, really bad sign, given that it's in our rules. And another one actually was very, very rough and hurt me. It was for a couple of weeks I had to recover, like a non-lose situation. So I find it a bit difficult because, just given the nature of men, I guess, seeming to be a whole lot more untrustworthy than women, I find myself needing to divert to him a bit more than the other way around to see if because he's playing the role of protector, and we're kind of a dom sub kind of relationship, so it kind of goes with the roles that we play. But yeah, I just I guess that was all I wanted to talk about.
No, so here's one of the great paradoxes of having open relationships is that if you've ever been to a lifestyle club, like a swingers club or any other lifestyle club, ironically, it seems you are treated so much better there by the members than if you just meet someone elsewhere and then bring them home. Because the members, they want to stay members, so they're going to play by the rules. They're going to make sure you're happy with it. There's almost always free contraception, for free condoms on hand. Even if they don't bring one, they're there. I don't know if you've ever tried that or if that's within your list of things to try. But ironically, you are generally treated better at those than elsewhere.
Yeah, we're actually going to one tonight. They have like a Halloween
nice.
Going. Go tonight and get dressed up and stuff. But one thing
I love the idea of secular sexuality as sort of like the foreplay to get warmed up before going out to a club like that. So if there's anything that we can do to whatever. But Puck and I had a conversation on this show a few months ago around compersion and put together a number of resources around that idea, talking about jealousy and these different things, as well as a bunch of resources around sort of polyamory and ethical non-monogamy more generally. So I'll make sure to have those included in the show notes for this episode as well, in case you want to continue to pursue these things, because I really sincerely don't believe that a non-monogamous relationship is inherently more challenging than a monogamous one. What I do believe, though, is that your culture has not prepared you for a non-monogamous relationship. And so you got to kind of bone up. You have to read and make up for that knowledge gap in a lot of ways. And so I'm really glad that you're checking out shows like this one and that you're like working to understand these things.
Well, there's nothing I like more than boning up. So.
Dirty joke. I like it.